Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tragic Backstories, a series where I tell you some tragic backstories of the characters that you know and love on this channel. Oh, I am your host, Lola Skeleton Wizard, and I hope that you guys are having an awesome day. Okay, but it's time to get into some tragicness. Today we are focusing on some of the characters whose backstories will not be described in the FNAF series. That's right, we're talking about the FNAF universe, which means you already know who we're talking about. Today we will be focusing on 7 characters, and the list includes Proto, Mary, and the 5 ghosts. Are you guys ready to learn this? Alright, the first thing I have to explain is the ghost backstory, because if you don't know the ghost backstory, you won't know Mary's backstory. It was a summer day in 1982, about a year before the tragedy at Fredbear's Family Diner. At the same time that Fredbear's Family Diner was open, there was another location called Freddy Fazbear's, and people were getting weirded out because as children were disappearing. Where were these children disappearing to, you may ask? Well, they were disappearing to a back room. That's right. 6 children were called into the back room of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria by a man in a yellow Bonnie suit, also known as Spring Bonnie. Normally, this costume was only used for the Fredbear locations, but because this person was a technician, they got their hands on the Spring Bonnie costume. He lured the kids into the back room, saying there was cake and presents and a birthday party. These kids were all part of the same family. They were the only children in this family, so they were thinking, cool, this is going to be awesome. Oh, we're going to get some cakes and presents. It's going to be great, and we get to tell our parents all about it. They never left that room that day. After the children disappeared, the parents were screaming and yelling for their names all over the place, but couldn't find them. Meanwhile, inside the back room, the soundproof back room, a little girl named Mary E. Thompson was protecting the rest of her brothers and sisters. She was the oldest of the bunch, being 14, but she was no use to be put up against this man. She was stabbed right through the abdomen and killed. She did not die before all her sisters and brothers died. She merely passed out from the pain, but she could still vividly see all her brothers and sisters be killed. There was Chelsea. She was the youngest, age 8, and she was the youngest of all of them. Fred was 10. Greg was 11, and Beth was 12, and Felicia was 12 and a half. When the family found the missing children in the room, Freddy Fazbear's, at least that location, was immediately shut down. But the man in the suit was not done yet. He put the bodies of these children into animatronic suits, including one of them into a suit that without an endoskeleton. Their spirits were dragged with them, but the oldest girl hadn't found a home yet, for she couldn't fit in any of the suits. But she found a home inside a marionette costume. Sorry guys, I'm recovering from a cold. It sucks. Anyways, she found a home in a marionette costume. And now then the five ghosts wandered around the pizzeria for years. And then finally, the old at the third location, and it was finally burnt down, and all the animatronics were gone. This let the ghosts be free, except for Mary. Mary was still stuck in the animatronic suit, so the ghost stayed with her, so that she would not have to be alone. And now they're wandering spirits forever. Alright, I'm back for the second story. The second story being Mary's story. After the horrific murders of these children, the puppet, it was transferred over to Fredbear's Family Diner because it was the only undamaged and unscathed animatronic. Here is where Mary would serve cake, help children, and find their toys, dogs, whatever they decided to ask to help finding. Until one fateful day in 1983, the owner's kids' brothers, the owner's youngest child, Michael Afton, and was grabbed by his oldest brother and his friends. They were all terrorizing him with the Five Nights at Freddy's main 4 masks, and they threw him into Fredbear's mouth. Fredbear, who was possessed by Greg, could not control himself. He froze up, and his mouth clamped shut. The spring locks had failed, and at the cost of William Afton's child. Both Marion and Fredbear were transferred to a different location. A grand reopening. Greg was just stuck in the suit, just deactivated, but Mary was well aware of what was going on. With all her might, she had to protect the night guard. She wouldn't stand to let this human die, because she did not want anybody to have to suffer the same fate she did. She protected Jeremy Fitzgerald, the one who was in the grand reopening of Freddy Fazbear's. She protected him through all the nights. She protected Mike Schmidt, who was in the other grand reopening for the original Freddy Fazbear's with the original animatronics. She protected him. She protected the mystery night guard, who was in Fredbear's Fright, a horror attraction. She protected him and helped him get out, but at the cost of not being able to be free with her brothers and sisters. Suddenly, Mary felt faint and passed out on the ground. Apparently, she had been shut down by the manual shutdown button that the owners owned, because she was about to be transferred. While she was out, she was put into Michael Afton's dream. Why was she put into Michael Afton's dream? Michael Afton wasn't dead yet. Michael Afton was stuck in this dreamlike state for years in the hospital because his father refused to let go. Mary finally helped Michael defeat his nightmares of the main 4. Suddenly, Michael collapsed up in her arms, and when she asked if he was okay, he said, "Now that my nightmares are over, I can finally rest in peace." He died while she was there. Michael's brother was right across from them. He had entered this dream-like state as well. He wasn't dying, though. He was just crying and crying. Mary walked over to him and said, "It's not your fault." Don't blame yourself. Then she woke up. A mysterious location. And could this have been where she thought she was? The lights suddenly blared on. She was home. She was where the puppet was originally transferred to. The marionette puppet was originally transferred to the sister location, Circus Baby's Pizza World. With her sister, baby, this being the prototype of the baby that we see in the game today. And her brother Fred, not the Fred in the Freddy one, but the prototype of Toy Freddy. This was where her home was. She knew these people. But after a tragedy that struck here in 1987, and she knew why she was here. She knew. She was here to save someone. She had to. But it wasn't just the night guard she had to save. She had to save her brother, her sister, and the replacements from a terrible fate that they had been caused. I'm not going to explain any of the rest of that part of the story. That's in the series. Alright, next one. You guys all know her. Her name is Proto. Short for Proto-Bab, and even shorter for Proto-Baby. Prototype Baby. But for this sake of this, we're going to call her Proto. Proto was made before anyone else was made. She was the first one made of the originals, and then it went Fred, Mary, and Lolbit. The Mary at the time was named Marionette, but they all knew that they had a connection. Baby caught on to singing instantly. She loved it. She loved the feeling of the microphone in her hand, as well as she learned guitar. So she could sing along with her sister Mary. Mary learned how to go along with the beat with the tambourine. Fred and Lolbit helped with backup vocals. It was amazing. But suddenly Fred came down with a terrible virus. It took him months to get rid of it. But he finally did. This didn't perturb her baby, and during this hard time, she and her sister Mary continued to sing. Suddenly, their father, Ennard, got a phone call saying that Mary was to be transferred to Fredbear's Family Diner. And her story continues. She was taken and put into a box and thought to never have been able to be seen again by her sister and brother. Her sisters and brothers. Lolbit was packed away in the attic, alone and afraid. Baby and Fred were the last ones to ever be out, and they thought they were safe. They were the ones who were going to stay, because as their father had made replacements for them, for Mary and Lolbit. Funtime Foxy, a pink and white fox, whose gender was switched for some reason. Who knows why? Melora was the first one ever made. She was the replacement for Mary. Although the hole could never be repaired in Proto's heart for Mary. Suddenly Fred was taken away, locked up in a mysterious room, but Baby didn't know. Just the day before, she had been singing over the phone with Mary, and Fred was locked away. Why is this happening? Why? Suddenly, two new animatronics appeared. One little blue bunny who was cute as a button and named Bon Bon, and a new bear named Freddy, Funtime Freddy, who looked suspiciously like Fred, except a new purplish pink color scheme. So they would sing together. All of them would sing together. Ballora would dance to the songs. Foxy would play the tambourine. Fred would help with backup vocals. Freddy would help with backup vocals with the help of Bon Bon. And of course, Baby would play the guitar and sing the main vocals. Suddenly, she was grabbed. The middle of the night, she was grabbed and thrown in a locker. Their father put all the robots to sleep and took their memory cards out. He edited out the memory of Proto had ever been existing. And then he created a new baby. This time a full red and white color scheme instead of the old orange, blue, red, and white. For years, Proto lay dead. Her battery had died. Right, for years in that locker. And that's where I'm leaving the story. If you like these tragic backstories, and I hope you're liking them because they're creative and not because you're a sadistic person, and go go ahead and like this video and tell me in the comments who other backstories you guys want to hear. Anyways, I'm the Skeleton Wizard here. This was I forget what I called this. I'm gonna call it Dark Backstories. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, guys. See you later, my dudes.